Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the January 6, 2017 edition of Colorado Inside Out. I'm your host, Dominic Dizzuti. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's get a quick take on the brother of JonBenet Ramsey suing CBS for defamation following a documentary it broadcasted in 2016 indicated him as her killer. Burke Ramsey's $750 million claim alleges the CBS special perpetuated a fraud upon the public and was not based on fact. Patty Calhoun from Westward. It's been 20 years, and we are still talking about the JonBenet Ramsey case on Colorado Inside Out.
And 5 years from now, we will be talking about it then, too. I'm going to buy a seat on the space shuttle just to avoid it, because it is not going to be solved by then, although, ironically, this lawsuit could help if it actually makes it to the deposition stage. We might actually get some discovery. We might learn some new things. The fact that all this started in September, that CBS show was on so early, we had to hear Dr. Unctious Phil, who was horrible, who's represented by the same lawyer, now suing CBS. It just gets more and more tangled.
Craig Silverman, attorney with Silverman & Levis and a talk show host on KNUS. Is this a case that's simply going to be in the consciousness forever?
Yeah, it's a great murder mystery, and I think that if you get people under oath and have good questions, that some truth could emerge. Now, it's a hell of an accusation to say that Burke Ramsey killed his little sister, and it's defamatory, especially if they doctored the facts. This is based on the book by Telluride Town Marshal Jim Kolar, who used to work for the Boulder DA's office. His book, Foreign Faction, did not get much attention, but CBS bought the rights, and then they put on a heck of a special. It was by far the best of any of them. They built a replica Ramsey house in the old Fleming Law Building on the CU campus, not far from the crime scene. They got Henry Lee, Dr. Werner Spitz, Jim Clemente, Laura Richard, and they went into it and they produced some new evidence, including enhancing the 911 tape, where they claim you can hear John Ramsey telling his son, "We're not talking to you," and Burke Ramsey is saying, "What did you find?" and Patsy Ramsey is saying, "Holy Jesus." These are things that destroy the Ramsey theory that Burke slept through it all. Then they have some interesting findings on the pineapple, and so it's going to be a fascinating civil case, and CBS has the resources to fight it.
Eric Sonderman, political analyst, does this lawsuit simply perpetuate this tragic story?
This story is going to be perpetuated until we have a conclusion to it. And this might be one of those. I mean, there are cases, famous murder cases, where there is never a final resolution. And 20 years in, you wouldn't want to bet otherwise on this one. Craig is probably the antithesis of me in this, not in terms of our conclusions, but just in terms of the level of depth that he knows. And I never went into that level of depth 20 years ago and haven't in the interim. But yet it is this strangely fascinating, just because of all the circumstances of it, you know, this upscale family, this little 4 or 5 year old, 6-year-old beauty queen, et cetera. I think Burke Ramsey, after those allegations aired, after CBS went the route that CBS went, he had no choice but to sue, whether he's guilty or not guilty. To not sue for defamation was not a tenable course, and I think I would not bet against Patty here in terms of her 5-year prediction.
Natasha Gardner, senior editor of 5280. $750 million sounds about right, right?
Sure. It's a heck of a lot of money, but the audience for this case alone probably warrants it. I mean, we've heard, there's certainly been the stuff that has already come out and been broadcast in the last few months, but it sounds like Netflix is now going to do a series as well. So it never ends. It seems to be a sort of never-ending appetite for this sort of story with absolutely no connection to the Ramsey case at all. What I'm fascinated by is why we spend so much time paying attention to this one child. I mean, I've done a lot of work on these type of stories. There are so many kids that are lost every single day. I just wish that we could use some of those resources and attention span on some of those other cases as well.